Hey everybody, ever want to make a PDF poster that has links that are clickable, have it look really cool, and have it be something easy and quick to design? Check out this video and learn how. Okay everybody, I'm going to show you how to make a graphic similar to this one. This is a graphic that I've created that has clickable links in the PDF version, but it also has, of course, the text links as well as some text. It has some icons added. It has some PNGs added and also some icons here in Canva. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically kind of deconstruct this graphic and show you how I created each part of it. And so you can see if you wanted to do the same, how you could start doing it. So I'm going to go back to my home in Canva. Once again, remember, if you sign, I'm going to go to my sign out, but I'm signed in. Canva is a free program that allows you to create graphics and pretty cool ones at that. So I'm logged into Canva. I'm going to go to all of my designs, and it always shows your most recent, whatever recent design you were working on before. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this graphic right here. And this graphic uses a template that's designed for a standard 8.5 by 11 inch of paper. But, just so if you go here, you can always view how you want to download the graphic or present the graphic. It has a couple elements. So as we take a look at this graphic, I just want you to notice there's a couple elements here. There's the text. There's this background shape. There is the icon. There's some smaller text. There's some text here. And then there is the buttons that I've made clickable links when downloaded. Button here that's downloaded. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at all the different elements. So if I were to go in and let me open in a new window. So let me go in and I'm going to open in a new window, Canva, and I'm going to start fresh and kind of give you an idea of how to build what we have here. So, I'm into another window in Canva. I have this one open and I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and create a design. And I am going to go with, with this one, I could always do a custom size, or I could do a poster. I am going to do a custom size. It depends on how you plan on printing or showing this poster. So I'm going to make it 11 inches wide and 8.5 inches. And if you notice, the brochure option is also that size. They're showing me suggested sizes. I'm not doing a brochure, but if I was, I would have that available. And I can go ahead and just remember that this option is in pixels, inches, millimeters, and centimeters. Just make sure you're in inches because that's going to be the best way to compare it, or millimeters and centimeters to paper. But a standard piece of white paper is, the 11 by 8.5. If you were doing something that needed to be a specific pixel width, you would go with the pixels. So I'm going to keep it on inches and create the design. Now, this design that I create will not be exactly like the one I have. I work pretty intuitively. I tend to kind of change and adjust and I can do similar things, but they're never one is usually exactly the same. So I'll just start that as a disclaimer to start with. But if I have a white background, the first thing I want to do is be able to change that white background. So you can do that a couple different ways. You could do it by adding a color here and changing the background color and making it like this red is similar to what that poster is. Another way of doing this, it does add an additional layer, is to go over to the elements, and you can use a square shape and then resize the square shape to the size that you want. And I could pull this all the way out to the edges and then adjust the color. And always remember that whenever you're adjusting a color in Canva, that you also can use this color scheme here a lot, the scale here. So, and if you know the actual hex color, you can enter it. So, if I wanted that gray, there it is. Okay. So just something to think about. I am not going to go with that. I'm going to click on this, and just remember the way to delete. You can right click. You can also backspace, and it will disappear. So I quickly have a background color that's very similar to what I have in the other poster. I'm just going to take a quick look at the poster, and I'll say, oh, let's take a quick look at that poster that I have. And I think my next step is actually look at trying to get some of these shapes. I'm going to do the shapes before I do the text above, because the shapes will give me a little bit of perception of the size of the elements of size that I want to add. So if you notice, I'm already here under elements. I have all sorts of different shape options here for the square. Your frames, I'm going to stick right around the shapes, and I'm going to go with, something a little bit different. Squares, triangles. Let's go with circles. And I'll do something a little bit different. I'm going to make it a different color as well. Something to kind of either work with. I'll do black circles. Okay. Now, if you notice the black circles, I can pull them from the corner. I can move them anywhere I want to move them. Now, I think what helps me with this poster is the repetition of the 6 squares. And I have room for a graphic. I have some room for some text, and I have room for the button. And I also have room for this text below. So that's what I'm going to start to play with. I'm only going to create one of these bullet sized pieces that actually will fit 6. So my goal will be the same. So I'll try to fit 6 of these. So the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make one right around the size that I think will fit. And then the coolest part of Canva is, say you have something that you really love and you want to duplicate it, you can click on it. Let me just go up here and duplicate. As long as it's selected and has this green box, it can be duplicated. All right, I'm going to make one more, and then I'm going to show you another thing that I really love about Canva. So if you notice, now that I have created 3 circles, I can adjust these circles to be the exact same size because I've already duplicated them. Now the key for me is I want the same borders. And the cool thing about Canva, see these pink lines that now cross over? That means they're lined up. So I just kind of lined up my 3 circles, and my spacing looks pretty good there. And if I need to adjust it, I can, but they're all the same size. I might need to, budge. And just remember, you can up and down with the arrow keys on your keyboard as well. So if you notice that just kind of like check the alignment to the top. And another cool thing about Canva is I can then left click on a PC to an open area, and I'm selecting all 3 of these. And I can go up here and click duplicate, and now I have 6. And all I have to do is drag them down. Okay, so now I have 6 dots, all with the same spacing. It almost looks like a Lego piece, right? But I can manipulate now the spacing. Now, just remember, whenever you're moving multiple items like this in Canva, I always make sure that, I'm doing something to kind of make sure my spacing is true. Make sure that they're aligned. I double check the width between the different pieces. So what I'm trying to do here is just create something that has enough space for some text underneath it, enough space for the text above it. Okay, so let's hypothetically say I go with that option. So another thing I'd like to do is kind of mess with these shapes and what I can do with these shapes. So whatever I do to one, I kind of want to have happen to all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select down in the bottom left corner, I'm going to select all of these shapes at once. So now if I wanted to move them up with the arrow keys or down, and you could do the same with the mouse, you can do that. Now the other thing you can do when they're all selected is you can click on it and you can start to see, if you wanted to change the colors, you could easily change the colors. You could start to mess with, what you got and see if it works better with your design. You also can go over and let me click off of it and click into it. And it gives you some options for group, position. You can move them top, middle, bottom, left, center. Copy style, which copies the style of all of them. If you wanted to, black, Control Z that. That will take the style of it and allow you to copy it to other places. So let's go ahead and leave this. Let's go ahead and leave this the way it is for right now with these circles. But see how I single clicked on that one? Let me show you a quick design tip. I can go up here to the transparency tool. And if I wanted one to be a little less see-through or more see-through, I can adjust the transparency, which kind of adds a cool effect. So if you want, I thought that actually would show up on all three. Let me just make sure. See, what happens is that disappears on all three. So you can always check and say, if you want this effect for all six, you could go and say 35 transparency. And I can go here and I can go to 35. And it's going to offer the same level of transparency and look exactly the same as long as it's the same color. So just keep that in mind too. Like that's going to adjust if it's not the same color, it's going to look different. Okay. If it's I'm using black, which is like a basic color. If it's not that, or it's a different form of red, you're going to get, something that is a little bit different. So this, what I like about this is it's giving me kind of like this different red. Okay. So the next piece, if I was trying to make this similar to my example here, is I would start to think about, the text I feel like I can fit as long as I've designed a specific amount of space. So this and this I can fit in pretty easily. I'm going to start looking for just some sample icons just to kind of fit in, and also how to create a button. So here I go. I'm going to show you cool features in, not only have I uploaded a lot of pictures and images that I use in Canva, there are also the elements, frames, sticker, charts. But if I want to search for something like a button, it gives me all these kind of cool options. I'm going to use one of the free options. I'll use this one right here, the basic gray free one. And as you can see, it's, got that kind of pill shaped. And I'm going to put the button inside of the shape. I'll put the button right below what I have here, and I'll put the text on the inside. Okay, so say that's a position I really like. Oh, looks a little bit off. Now I'll budge it over. And if you see, it centered itself. So I'm going to now duplicate. What do I need? One more? Three. That's 6. I think that's 6. So I'm going to go put those underneath my circles. Oh, it looks like it's a little tight on the bottom with the size button that I've picked. Okay, so what that tells me is I'm going to take all 3 of these and I'm going to budge them up to about there. And then the nice part is now I can take all 3 of these, I can budge them up, and I'm going to fix this one. This one looks a little off center, and so does this one. And this one looks like it go one step to the left. And I'm going to then select these 3, and hopefully this is like a helpful way of seeing a project come together. I like to do little projects like this, make cool posters, and I'm going to bunch this one over. You see it's lining up. If I go there, it doesn't. There we go, like that, and like that. So now I have a button. Now, to also remember that you can also go to the internet and find a button that, let me see, I should have some here that I've uploaded, like this click here. I actually added I found this click here button on the internet, copyright free. So there are copyright free buttons. If I wanted to, pull that in and use that, I could. But also remember that you can just put the button here, and I could do the same click here text. So let me do that here on this poster. So I'm going to go back to text over here on the left side. I'm going to go, I think a subheading text will fit the best here. I will use click here as my example. I think on my example here, I won't necessarily use, and I hope this isn't a deal breaker for people watching it, I'm not going to use the links again. So I'm not going to, well, I'll show how to make this a link, but I won't, type out the links. So I wanted to bold this text. Now just remember, like, as long as this text is selected, I can then change the style of it. So if you weren't seeing the style and you were like, oh, but the other button was different, just remember that you have all the options that are available within the text library of Canva. So I like the Archivo Black. And then once you have something that you like, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. And if you notice, it's easier to do it with the text size tool than it is to, and I gotta fix my little spelling mistake, than it is to do it. Ooh, it does not like that. Okay, why is it doing that? It's making like an uppercase. It's kind of like a weird quirk. Type the whole word over, click. It must be with that font. Let's see. Okay, it is with that font. So it's kind of odd with that Archivo Black. It makes the I look like an L. So I'm just going to change it up to something like this. All right, so I'm going to keep this. This fits pretty well. Click on the text. And now, just like anything else in Canva, I'm going to duplicate that. So, and I technically could have done one button with click here and duplicated each one. But as I'm kind of going along and winging it, I'm also doing, different designs. So I'm doing a different design than I had done before. So I'm not necessarily pre-planning exactly everything to be exactly the same. So, but you could hypothetically select over both the text and the button and duplicate it. Because I know that would be someone's question if they were, why didn't you just do that? It's something you can do if you have the project really well planned out and you're ready to go. So now I've done 6 click here buttons. Let me go to the icon folder and now look at my the icons, elements, and also uploads. So I do at times find different uploads on the web, things that, and I often will use the remove.bg background tool to remove the background and then upload the media using the upload media tool in Canva to be able to make a background. But let me just go through and use some of my existing PNGs in which the backgrounds have been removed. So, here's a little icon of myself. I'm going to make that where I fit. Put that in there. Let me find some other. And hypothetically, what I could do is, go ahead and resize this and fit. And I'm just going to duplicate it. And now I should have one for each button. And you could do the same thing for every icon you want. You want to fit it. And I highly recommend the Remove BG Background tool if you're going to upload images. Just make sure they're your own images. And I made a double one here. So I'm just going to backspace because I'm selected. And now I have made a graphic with an icon. And now let's add some text and then across the top, and then let's add the link. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go to the text tool. And, just the difference here in Canva is to remember the heading and difference in the subheading. So I'm going to go ahead and click heading. As soon as you click heading, it puts a sample heading onto your page. I added 2 by accident, so I'm select that one, backspace, go to this. And I'm going to go ahead and hit sample heading. And let's use some of the text tools so I can widen this, scoot it to the middle. Also remember that you have options here if you want to go left justified, right justified, centered, and also sizing is super handy. So if I wanted to size this, the white looks pretty good against the red. I might also go with white text on the inside of the circles. So I'm going to go ahead and click on sample heading, and let's find a font that might be fun. Horizon. Let's do that. It looks a little more boring than I thought. Look better with the word horizon. Enter. Very, very boring. League Spartan. So you always want to think about the balance between readability and, design and purpose. So I'm just going to keep a very simple, readable heading, sample heading text right here. Now, hypothetically, I could do a couple things. So I could bring it in and recenter it. And then one thing that I like to do with text sometimes is give it like a little underline. And in Canva, the way I do this is I actually use the elements tool, or I'm sorry, like a shape tool. Okay, so I want to make a very narrow rectangle. Just remember, think about that, like a very narrow rectangle. So I take the rectangle. If you search shape, I can take the rectangle, puts the rectangle, and I make it very, very, very wide, and I make it very, very, very narrow. And then I have a lot of creative control over my square. Now, you have to just remember, I'm going to go in here and look at the shape tool. There's circles, squares, hearts. Let's see what we got here. Arrows. I love the shape tools because you can manipulate them really, really well. So let's look for a thin line to underline our text. Oh, I'm just going to type in the word line. Let's go ahead and type in line. And here I get lots of different line options. So I'm going to go ahead with this dotted line. And now if I want it, I could keep it black. I actually kind of like it black. But if I wanted to, I could make it brown. I could make it purple. You have all the options in the world. I'm going to keep it black because I feel like that fits pretty well. I'm going to use my arrow. And what I like about the line tool is it, gives you separation. It gives you an opportunity to kind of separate your text from your content. And while you get into it, you could reuse this line if you wanted to. Like, so hypothetically, you could here, I could click on it, I could duplicate, and I could use this line. Let's see, I think this line is pretty cool as an underline. Like if you really want to mess around, like you could do a lot of cool stuff with the line. Like you could then duplicate that. And I'm working my spacing a little bit because I could have done that. And that's why pre-planning a design is really a good idea, because you can figure out, oh, I'm going to need, I can copy and paste this design this many times and have fun with it. But I'll be honest, this is what I have fun with. Like if I get on and I want to start putting something together, I kind of have fun with playing with the variety of shapes and playing with the elements, so that it's kind of a cool, fun design to make. Okay, so if you notice, that's pretty cool, right? So let's do just some small text, some sample text below each one of these, and then I'll make those links clickable. Okay, all those buttons clickable. So let's go into text. And Canva's added a lot of cool kind of text options to kind of play with. I kind of try to avoid, to be honest with you, some of these ones that they're longer sentences like quotes. I mean, I think for some things they work really well. But I'm all for, like, if I can keep it simple, maybe like, let's use a heading font, because I'm going to resize it and say, I'm just going to write the word content. Okay. And this could be, any type of content. This could be just a description. Now write content, that can be anything. Right? So here I'm going to resize this down to something. I often like the heading fonts a little bit better than the lower level fonts for the heading. So the reason why I added this extra sentence is I wanted to bump a line, because maybe that's something that might come up with you. You see, if I bump that line and I fit that text right below that. So one thing is, you always want to kind of check your line spacing, and I'm kind of fitting that right in between, underneath that line. And let's see if that fits. So that closely fits. I'm going to then duplicate that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the first time I counted, so that is a good thing. And let's see how I do. I'm going to kind of try to do this quick. And not make any mistakes, or too many mistakes. All right, so I'm sure some of these are off. So I just quickly added these to underneath the text. Those could be anything. And I'll be honest, sometimes I do add just general text underneath, and then I go in and I fill it out later, what I want. And I'm just getting the spacing. So there is a basic design. So let's now make a clickable link. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this whole button. Now, the thing with clickable links that you want to remember is that clickable links are only going to work really in the PDF version, or if you somehow publish the PDF to the web. They aren't going to work if you have them as an image. They're not an image link. So just remember that when you go to the download feature, you have file types PNG, JPEG, the PDF standard, and the PDF print. And the video, PDF standard and PDF print are the only ones where that link is going to work. The MP4 and GIF are not going to work. So if you put links, you're going to have to basically make it a PDF and then put it on the web, or share it in an email as a link to the document. So what I've done in the past is I've uploaded this to Google Drive as a PDF and then shared it that way. But anything that can embed a PDF. So I've selected, I'll do that again. I've selected this text right here. I'll go and I'm going to let me go ahead and select that text again. Okay, so the next thing is I have this text. I'm going to click on the size here. And you notice what, as soon as I click this icon here, it brings up this menu: position, copy style, transparency, link. So if I click on link, that's where you can enter the link. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can select just this button, but what it likes better is it likes when you select this whole area. And this whole area can become a clickable link area. Okay, so let me show you how to make a link. So what I'm going to do is you want to make sure that you don't do this and copy both the text and the button, because when you do that, what it does is it takes away the opportunity to make it a link. What it wants you to do is go ahead and just click on the button part, not the text and the button, and that retains your ability to make it a link. So I'm going to make it, just to test, google.com, done. And then you want to do the same thing with all of these. You can make them shorten links. You can make them any type of link that you want. Let's just do the first two. And now those two first buttons are links. Now, just a reminder that, once again, they will not work as a download of an image or a JPEG. You need it to be a PDF, and it also won't work as an MP4. All right. So let's go ahead and file and So let's go ahead and do download, and I'm going to select PDF standard, download. And then once it's downloaded, I will go ahead and open it up. And here you can see the final PDF version. I highly recommend, again, that if you are using the link feature, that you share it as an attached PDF somewhere, or you embed the PDF in a page so that the links can be used. I hope that this tutorial has been helpful at helping you figure out how to make the shapes and show you how to do a variety of things in Canva. Thank you.